Ain't nobody gonna bring up the fact that JB got on sunglasses in the house. Ain't nobody gonna talk about this.
They're aviators.
Nobody.
Aviators.
Okay.
Hey, but I'm by the window. I'm by the window, man.
Yeah,
Brightness coming in here. It's brightness coming in.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Screen Actors Guild panel for the cast from Hulu's Woke. As you can tell, they have a great time with each other. I probably am only going to get to ask one or two questions before they take it away from me. But my name is Eric Deggans, and I'm the TV critic for National Public Radio, and I'm so honored and glad to be a part of this. Let's meet everybody that we're going to talk to here. We've got Rose McIver, who plays Adrian. We've got JB Smoove, who plays Marker Pen. We've got T. Murph, who plays Clovis. We got Blake Anderson, who plays Gunther.
Hi.
And the man, the myth, the legend, the person who will only clap if his personal assistant does it for him, Lamorne Morris as Keith. So we've got a great trailer to give you a sense of what woke is like. So let's run that trailer, and then I will try to talk to these guys and get a few words in edgewise. Let's check it out.
Hey, Keith.
You know, I did my first toast and butter cartoon in the bathroom wall.
It's still there.
I know. Someone drew a dick in Toast's mouth.
Oh, I was drunk.
Okay, I thought that was you. I'm an artist. It's important to preserve a little mystery.
You're not mysterious. Lenny Kravitz, he's mysterious.
Lenny Kravitz, Batman.
You're on your way to the top. Newspapers, TV show, movie deals.
So you're Keith Knight?
I am.
It's funny, I didn't think you'd be tall.
Happens all the time.
I just love your work and what you say with it.
Why is it that as people of color we're always having to stand for something in our work? Just the cartoonist.
Because the world's a racist place.
And that's why I keep it light.
Keep it light.
Yeah, keep it light.
Don't move.
Central weed, the suspect in question.
What?
6 foot tall.
You got the wrong guy.
Copy that. This isn't the suspect.
I can't believe they did us like that. Are you cool?
Over here, man. Mr. Policeman did a number on you, didn't he? Now you can be his. It's just like having a superpower.
No.
Crazy was a superpower.
Oh, boy.
What's really going on, bro?
Earlier, I got my ass beat by the police. Now I'm seeing things.
Houston, we have a problem. Man, you woke.
Let's pop bottles, make cupcakes.
Did you guys lighten my photo? I look like Sammy Sosa. Am I too black for my own comic strip?
Oh, trust me, no one's gonna ever accuse you of being too black.
I'm sorry, what?
Down here, my brother. That's right. I'm a talking trash can.
This is all wrong.
I tell you what's wrong. Those man-bun, co-opting, gentrifying devils.
So you have about 30 minutes till they trap you in the sunken place.
Well, it feels like I'm already there. If you were me, what would you do?
You let this out, so you have to deal with it. The good, the bad, and the ugly.
You know what to do.
Boy, I ain't got time for
This is that moment in the Matrix. Do I take the red pill or the blue pill?
I've got both in my room if you want to experiment.
Boy, I ain't got time.
So that was awesome, and welcome back to the panel.
Fire.
So the first thing I got to say to y'all, man, seeing a grown man get punched out by a guy in a panda suit or in a koala suit, excuse me,
Yes.
was the funniest thing I've seen on TV this year. Thank you so much.
It really happened.
It really happened.
But you know what's interesting is, you know, we're at this time where we are going through so much and we are dealing with so many serious subjects, and yet your show tries to make fun of that stuff while also not cheapening the things that you're talking about. And I think that's a great line that you guys walk, and it's a difficult one to walk.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to ask Lamorne first, how do you guys do that? Do you have a sense about when you cross the line, when you can make fun of something? How have you walked that line of making fun of absurd situations, but also respecting the seriousness of the things that you're talking about?
I mean, that's a testament to our writers, as well as, you know, how we improvise on the show, as well as the real life scenarios that the guy I played, Keith Knight, has gone through. If you look at the history of comedy, I mean, comedians and JB, T Murph, you guys can attest to this. When you go on stage, you're talking about current events, but at the same time, you want people to laugh. And you want to infuse some sort of messaging in there. So with us, we definitely try to walk that line carefully in such a crucial time in our society, in our history. We want people to get the message. And I feel like the best way to do that is to add a little bit of sugar to that. You know, you have to, you take your medicine is best served with orange juice is what people say. So I think that's what we try to do. What we want people to leave with when they watch this show is to keep the conversation going. And if it's too heavy-handed, if it's too much, if it's too in your face, if you're on a soapbox constantly preaching and drilling people with stuff, it's hard for them to digest it. And I think this was the easiest way for people to digest, but at the same time, still a comedy. So we want people to laugh and have fun and come and watch to be entertained. That's one part of the show, but the other part is to get that messaging across. Cool.
Now, JB, I don't want to be talking out of school, but you know, when you had to duck out of the Zoom and duck back in, T Murph was making fun of you. He said you looked like you was landing a plane with those headphones on. So.
Come on now.
I am. I actually
Snitching.
I told everybody to sit down.
He's flying the soul plane. All right. So JB, but though seriously, I did want to ask you about, you know, you're the actor here who's voicing an inanimate object, right? You know,
right.
Keith goes through this experience where he's assaulted by the cops, and then he has a bit of PTSD, and he imagines his pen is talking to him and is you. And I was going to joke and sort of say, you know, how did you research this role? Did you hang out in, you know, at Office Depot or something? But seriously, like what is that like to create this character that is kind of not a character, if you know what I mean? Tell me about the process.
Yeah, I mean, actually, for a comedian, that's probably the best case scenario. You know, we are so used to being the front man, the one who grabs the microphone, the one who speaks openly on camera to an audience or whatever. But imagine being able to hide behind the animation, which in turn you're allowed to take that character and make it your own. But at the same time, you're also able to be more outspoken behind the character. No one's going to say, "Hey, why did JB say that?" You know, I didn't say nothing. It was the pen. Pen said that. So, but I think great. Comedians, a blessing for a comedian is to be able to voice something honestly. You know, I think Penn is very honest in his delivery, you know, in what's needed for Keith. And I think, you know, being as loud, being as vocal as possible to help this guy is a benefit to the show. I feel like he is the one who's pushing those buttons, you know, and I think Keith needs it, whether he's having, you know, these flashbacks or whatever. He needs this guy. He needs someone to push those buttons to get him going. And to top that off, also, you know, let me add this to the scenario. Panda punched the hell out of Keith. And I'm gonna tell you now, you are more bold when you are in, you know, I'm telling you, that the guy in the costume would never touch you. He would never punch you in the face. But that Panda was a badass. You understand?
Yeah, as the down underrepresented, I want to clarify that Panda was a koala. It's a marsupial.
That's right. Not a panda.
As the Australasian member of the contingent, you know, I still feel like
our bad. No,
sad for you to admit it.
And fun fact about that koala, that was actually Keith Knight in that koala suit. So the guy who I'm playing that was him in that koala suit, and he could not see. So what you're not seeing, yeah, he did punch the hell out of me, but it took him a very long time to do it, because Keith in real life has never thrown a punch in real life.
Yes. I was gonna say, were we seeing some backstage tensions worked out in that scene?
Yeah, possibly.
So I want to ask T Murph, man. Yeah. You seem like the secret weapon on this show. I got to tell you, man. Whenever the tone gets a little too heavy, your character is one of the main ones that comes out with something that lightens the mood. So. But those kinds of characters, you know, the best friend characters can sometimes seem a little rote. They can sometimes seem a little predictable. It seems like the show figured out a way to create that character for both you and Blake in a way that was unpredictable. Talk a little bit about figuring out how to play this guy and how to keep him from being kind of a predictable best friend character.
In all honesty, I think it kind of goes back to what Lamorne was saying, just allowing us the ability to be able to improvise. You know, the writers, I don't want to take anything away from them. They came up with some great scripts, and some of the jokes in there were amazing. But then they would give us the free range to be able to say, all right, guys, we're just going to let you guys play it off this time. And then you'd have a scenario where, you know, Rose would come in and just do some wild shit. And now I got to figure out, you know, like, oh, let me go ahead and now I got to throw something back at this. Or
I'd never improvised before in my entire career at all, so I was definitely compromising.
What was that like, having to deal with these cats who are comics and used to improvising?
It's like a masterclass. These guys are amazing. It was so intimidating, honestly, and they were really kind and made me feel like I fit in right away, even though I'm from a like dramatic background. No, it was great. It was really, really good. I learned.
Okay,
a lot,
that's the accepted, SAG-approved answer. What's the
yeah.
Tell me spill the tea now.
She stormed
like,
off
when is this scene going to end? It just goes on and on.
She was calling cut by the end of days.
Yeah. I was.
We got
like,
it.
Mo, can
we
we
got
wrap
it.
this up?
Yeah. Tell them about your taco paper jump shot that you kept missing.
Oh my God. I was keeping like, I tried to make this jump shot, and honestly, I did it like 40 times. Kobe, every single time. The one time I didn't bother saying Kobe, I got it in. I was like, what a waste.
I will say this.
I
will say this. You know, on our show, like we all get to improvise, we all get to play and have fun, and that's one of the beauties of being on a well-run comedy. When Rose came in, I remember a moment where we had this episode where we spent most of our time doing these two-person scenes. And the level of professionalism that she brought to the set, and I really do mean this, you know, even when we would talk about our characters, we'd be running lines, she'd help me break down my character a lot of times. And we'd be doing like I'd be sitting there doing my character analysis or whatever, and I'd have it down. I know what I was going to do. But when the scripts are coming in differently on like an hour before you're shooting or 20 minutes before you're shooting, or sometimes 30 seconds before you're shooting, we've got new pages and new sides. She would quickly analyze and break down and do these things and ask all the questions that a lot of times you don't see on comedies. A lot of times you don't see people breaking down characters the way she was doing it. And I tell you, it definitely helped me out a lot in doing those scenes with her. So she's making a joke about the professionalism and about how she came in as this dramatic actor, but she definitely came in and, you know, and set shit straight for some scenes that we had to do.
I came in that
is, you know, it's interesting because there is one question that I have for you, Rose, which is that scene in the last episode where Adrian gets the call from Keith. He's in jail. And I was trying to figure out how she felt about that phone call, because your expression, it was hard to read. It seemed like a lot of stuff was going on and how she reacted to that phone call. What's your sense about how she was reacting to that phone call and how that changed or didn't change their relationship?
Yeah, I feel like there was a lot going on. There would be a lot going on. I mean, she's very into this guy, but is definitely 1 foot in, 1 foot out of her own relationships. And, you know, she was really excited, and I think she gets this call that is very difficult to kind of process very quickly. We actually shot that at like 3 a.m. One night. You had gone home, Lamorne. He had very generously offered to stay, and I was like, you're the other end of a phone call. You're starting work at like 7. Just go home. So I did that with Marshall, one of our writers, and that was one of those moments where I was like, oh, maybe I don't ad-lib on this actually, because I was throwing him for a loop every time I would try to riff on that. But it was kind of just like, how do you react when you get a phone call like that? It's out of nowhere. It's there's a lot to unpack. Hopefully, it sets up for something interesting in the future.
And I was wondering too, being someone who's not from America, the show seems to be talking about these issues that are very much about how Black people and white people are coexisting, and we have this long history. Was there any part of this story that was difficult for you to access or challenging for you to access because you're not from America?
Mm-hmm. For sure. But I guess that's why the blessing in this was playing a Kiwi. So I could kind of play on my experiences when I moved to this country, where I'd had kind of my own relationship with New Zealand racism and some of the issues that happened there. But it was not something I knew about in any detail at all. It was new. So it was just nice having a bunch of people who were so kind and respectful and generous with what they shared, and they kind of helped me find what my perspective would be in the whole situation, which obviously this year is like kind of magnified. Yeah.
I didn't understand the words you just said. Your accent is crazy.
God, go back home. You know what I mean? Language or get out.
I'm
so getting a
blown
koala suit right now.
I had no idea Rose wasn't from America. I thought that was like a Tennessee accent or something. That's weird.
I'm about to go to Paul Hogan.
I thought she was a British. I thought she was a British actor trying to do a Southern accent. So
you wouldn't be the only person, Eric.
Thor, God.
But Blake, I want to get to you, my man. Because you are the little dip of white chocolate in the middle of this.
Thank you. I am the Jason Williams of the crew.
Yes, creamy filling. Look on screen, the creamy filling. The creamy
on that lace front wig.
Now, this is a situation where some white people could be very uncomfortable and be very worried about saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing. Tell me a little bit about fitting in with this cast and joining a show where you're going to be talking about these issues, where you're making jokes that can be pretty edgy.
Yeah, well, I think that all kind of goes back to, like, I just got to give praise to Mo Marable, our director. You know, he makes set extremely comfortable, and like he's very open to discussion. You never feel like you're about to be yelled at for taking risks. And you know, the other thing is I got to do a lot of scenes with Lamorne and T. Murph, and you know, it's just the three of us spending a lot of time in the middle of Canada, or on the west side of Canada, and getting to know each other and just feeling comfortable. And both these guys, you know, come to the table without an ego and just are super supportive and that kind of.
Well, I mean, I do, but
yeah. Well, we stomped it out pretty quick.
Yeah.
Got that Napoleon complex.
Well, you know, actors are renowned for not having much ego, so there you go.
Yeah,
I think we lucked out on this.
So, Lamorne, I did joke with you a little bit about being at the top of the call sheet, but you are at the top of the call sheet now. You know, after particularly on New Girl, a long run as a supporting character, and I was wondering, how much different is it? Did you feel more responsibility being the lead actor? When you got the role, was there a sense that, you know, as a lead person, you had a sense of what kind of set you wanted and what kind of example you wanted to set?
I did. I remember when I first was going through the audition process, I had a meeting with Mo, our director, Mo Marable. And one of the things he kept harping on was, you know, I don't want people to think that because you're number one on the call sheet, it just means the show's about you. What it really means is you're an extension of, you know, the director in a way. When the director's job is to run the set, there will be moments when the director can't do that. You know, I wanted the cast to feel like if there are issues or something, that I would try to handle it if I could. When I remember doing New Girl, Zoe took on a lot of that responsibility, where if we had issues or if we had things that were going on, she would lead that charge in handling stuff for us and taking care of things. And for me, it was more that, and also preparation and work ethic. You kind of want to lead by example if you can. That's really the only thing that it means to me, not just majority of the lines. I wanted to make sure the set was fun and loose, but at the same time, we had a lot of work to get done. So after set, a lot of times it was, hey, Lamorne, what are you up to? Oh, I'm going back to the hotel. I'm running lines. I'm reading lines. I'm rehearsing. And a lot of the actors we would all jump on board and get things done in that way. So that to me is really the only thing that being number one on the call sheet means, is just kind of leading by example.
He slapped me once for not knowing my lines.
Also, a part of well, to be fair,
you probably deserved it, right? Let's be honest.
It was like Jordan in the locker room.
Fair. Part of leading by example is laying hands on somebody. Every once in a while.
It is very much, very much.
And you've just been canceled. Okay.
Take one thing away from this.
Drop another line.
So I wanted to say, T. Murph, man, you even taught me a word when I was watching the episodes. Fumfering, something I had never heard of before. What else did you learn working on this show?
Man, I mean, yo, first of all, let me tell you something about lines since we're just talking about this.
Here we go.
I learned that lines are the easiest ever to recite when the camera is not on. All right, like when the camera's when the camera's not on and nobody's paying attention, you can run them lines all day. But as soon as Mo goes quiet on set, you be like, wait a minute, what was I saying again? But no, man, I learned a lot. I mean, this was my first big project. So just working with, Lamorne and Blake and Rose, and it was a huge learning experience for me as far as like some people say you get a crash course. Like you can work with acting coaches all day long, and they help you as far as like timing and getting comfortable and everything in front of the camera. But it's a lot of stuff you don't learn as far as like about continuity, as far as making sure that everything that you do in the scene is going to be the same throughout. Like you can't just be changing up, I learned about coverage. Lamorne taught me about that.
It sounds like there's a whole story behind
Go ahead, Lamorne.
Just real quick. T. Murph gives one of the best scenes in our show when he's delivering in the pilot episode when he's talking about, Houston, we have a problem. This dude is woke. So that scene that he gives is to me, you would not know this is one of his first jobs as an actor. He's so great in the show. However, what people did not see, and what they almost didn't see was me. There was this moment where T. Murph, he starts getting so impassioned. He's like getting into character. He's really feeling himself. And it's my coverage now. We just shot his coverage.
So the camera's not even pointed at him.
No. And in fact, he gets up and he stands right in front. This is not a joke. He's like, Houston, we have a problem. Man, this dude is woke. I was like, Murph, just about 3 feet to the
left. You really did learn a lot, didn't you?
So yeah. Like I said,
but that's a great point because that speech really is kind of like the mission statement of the show. When you pull them up and say, what rhymes with woke, broke.
Yeah.
That's the mission statement of the show.
Yeah.
So,
man.
So, that's what I mean. Like you were the secret weapon of the show. And I gotta say, you guys managed to make me laugh at a scene that showed Keith getting shot like 4 or 5 times by the cops. I could not believe how funny that scene was, even though it depicts this horrific thing. And I just wondered, was there some perverse sort of joy in getting people to laugh at something that is generally taken so seriously?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Again, I can't reiterate this enough. We want people to talk about the show, but more than that, we want people to talk about the movement that's going on. We want people to keep their focus and their eyes on what's happening in the world around them. And the best way to do that is to, just like you said, have people laughing at it, because then some people would be on the other side and go, what the hell? Why am I laughing at a guy being shot over and over again? Or why is this funny? Or maybe they think this is not funny. What are they doing? As long as that conversation keeps being had and as long as that conversation is going, I think that activates people. You know what I mean? That definitely activates people. It keeps people engaged. Now more than ever, we're seeing a lot of young people engaged. A lot of young people look at clips like that. If that clip is being shared online, people will talk about it. Even if you share it out of context, people can know it doesn't come from this show. They'll watch that clip and go, what the fuck is going on? And it allows them to talk about it some more, you know?
So this is from Freaks and Geeks with a Z. How did it feel to shoot such a powerful show at a time when people are rising up against police brutality and social injustices? And how did the 2020 protests across the U.S. influence the show?
For me, especially coming from Chicago, a place that we, you know, people always assume is riddled with violence. You know, and they call it black on black.
I'm from Gary Brothers, so I know.
Yeah, and then you know, and then seeing, you know, the years of protests even before this, you know, dealing with, you know, Trayvon Martin and Tamir Rice and all that. I think this show was a culmination of all of that and just bringing awareness to it. But we shot all of this, you know, we shot the pilot in 2019. We shot the rest of the episodes in the beginning of 2020. So this was pre-pandemic and pre-George Floyd. So we didn't even get an opportunity to touch any of that. But it just shows how relevant the subject matter was going to be regardless of when the show came out. I think we could have dropped it, I don't know, anytime in the last 400 years, and it would have been just like, it would have been the same. You know.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, you could have dropped this after Trayvon Martin in 2012 or Philando Castile in 2016. But you know what tripped me out is you had a COVID joke in the last episode, or the second to last episode, when you guys were on the bus. So something was working there, man. You guys somehow.
Either that. I remember that day. Well, I remember that day. I just remember because it was starting to bubble up. When we were in Vancouver, we were seeing it a lot on the news. We were hearing about, you know, there was a case in Seattle. Like, oh, it's hit the States now. Oh, there's another case over here. So it was slowly creeping up on us. It dominated the news cycle still, but when it was in another country.
You know, and we were watching it there.
Yeah.
When we would fly back home, like the little kiosk would ask you about COVID-19, and you'd be like,
"Have you been to the Wuhan province in the last 14 days?"
It's like getting serious.
Let's try another question. This one from Katie Fergie 702, who asks, "How much freestyle comedy genius are you allowed to inject into the script because you guys are brilliant?"
I think as far as it goes with us, as much as they'll allow, and we try to get away with as much improv as possible. That, at least, you know, that's what makes the friendship relationship feel real to me, you know, when it's our actual voices on the screen.
That's how you get chemistry, you know what I mean? When you hang out with each other so much off camera, a lot of downtime on the weekends, walking around Vancouver, rainy Vancouver, sometimes snowy Vancouver, you're being put in these different scenarios, and you're being tested. Even though it's just weather elements, you're still out and about handling stuff. So you can feel out each other's temperament throughout, regardless of what you're going through. So when you're on set, things change as well. And, you know, Murph drops a joke, Blake is right there to respond. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was easy.
Blake and Lamorne.
And I watched the previous panel. It seemed like you guys have a real chemistry. Was that instantaneous? Did it take a while to get to that point? Did you guys click right away? As an ensemble?
I was going to say, what on the back of what you just said, that like my acting coach always talks about. I remember if I was going to play somebody's sister in a film, and I'd go to her and say, "Look, I need to build this relationship," and she's like, "Whatever you do, please don't sit opposite each other at a cafe and talk about like, you know, where you're coming from as a character." She's like, just get familiar with them. Like a sisterhood is about being physical proximity, being used to putting your arm on that person's arm when you hang out, and like just building it to be as organic and draw on everything that you possibly can. And it helps that this group of guys in Sashia, who is awesome, is just so easy and willing to connect. And, you know, we went bowling, we went 5-pin bowling. That was a huge huge risk. But no, it's like drawing on as much of that as possible. I feel like served the chemistry.
Yeah, Rose would bring Molly to set all the time, and it was just like so.
Molly is her dog. Molly is her dog, you guys.
Are you trying to get shut down? Are you trying to get an HR case, man?
There's nothing.
All the time. She's like, guys,
Let's go. Let's
turn
roll.
up. Somebody get the strobe lights. It's party time.
When you roll on set on woke, rolling on set is a whole other thing.
Jared Talks Movies asked, what was the most emotional scene to film?
I would probably say the most emotional scene for me was on the bus, the Cubby episode, when they won't let me off of the bus. My character's trying to get off of this bus. There are these people that are on the bus that are ignoring this man who's not well and who is poor and needs money, and we're ignoring him, but we're raising $250,000 or however much money it was, for this escaped koala, which we should help an escaped koala. But, one of our brothers is right here and he's hurting and he's suffering. And I felt that in that moment for real, and I was going through a lot in my personal life during that scene. And I just remember it being a all hands on deck situation where the mood was set by every single person on that bus, the director, and believe it or not, also by Murph. I mean, Murph can't sit still. Let me tell you something. This dude's got a joke for every possible scenario. But in this moment, he was, along with everybody else, everyone was so focused on what was happening. And it felt real. It felt so real that I was breaking down crying because there's a lot of stuff that was happening. You know what I mean? And I think that scene on the bus definitely was the most emotional scene for me.
I just want to chime in on that. The scene right after that, where we got off the bus and we ran into the protest. Yeah, dude, there was a take where you were delivering those lines. And like, I'm sitting there, and this was, of course, your coverage. So camera was over my shoulder. It was his coverage, and he was delivering those lines, and you could see tears start to well up in his eyes, and like, it made me feel, some type of way, especially as a Black man living in America, going through these scenarios, being a victim of police brutality, and then seeing someone like just embody that. It felt real. Like I was to the point where I was like, yo, like, we need to cut this scene because I'm gonna start crying if he does, like, because it was.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Do you know
like,
cut?
Yeah, he's like, hey, come on. I was like, wow. Like it was a scene where as an actor, you like, I got to get my weight up. Shit, this is good.
Right.
I gotta say, that's part of it. It really pissed me off. I was like, okay, so they're the funny guys. I get it. They're gonna come in. They're gonna be all hilarious. That's their background. I'll be able to bring some dramatic chops, surely. And then Lamorne bloody does a dramatic scene and just like rips the floor out from everyone. And I'm like, where does it end? This isn't fun.
We're all actors.
That's what happens when you're at the top of the call sheet.
What's so funny you said that, because Mo, during our first conversation, he kept saying to me, when I was talking about the character, and I kept speaking on some of the more outrageous elements of his personality. And I remember Mo kept saying to me, and he was staring right in my soul when he kept saying it. He just kept going, "This ain't Winston from New Girl, man." He's like, that ain't him. That ain't him. He was like, I don't want to see none of that. I don't want to see none of that. He was
how'd you feel when he said that? How'd you feel when he said that?
Honestly, I felt challenged, and I felt like great, because a lot of times when you are the last job you've done is how people see you sometimes, and so they don't really see you as someone who can do multiple things, who can do a lot of different things. I think as actors we can do. I'd like to say that as actors we can do it all. You know what I mean? Let's get in there. Let's dissect these characters. Let's get it done. This is the first time that someone said, "Hey, we, believe it or not, we didn't cast you because of New Girl. We cast you because of your audition, so stick with what you did in audition. Let's do that. And so I don't know. I felt great about it. It felt like a new challenge in my life.
But, given the subject matter of the show, I remember what it was like for me when the George Floyd video first was made public. And in fact, I couldn't even watch it when it first came out. I remember turning off CBS This Morning because I couldn't watch another video of a black man getting murdered. And I knew I had to watch it because I'm a TV critic and I talk about media, but it took me a while to work up the courage to do it. And I was wondering for some of you, what was it like when that video came out? How did you sort of react to it? And how do you think it's going to influence the work that you do going forward, particularly if we're lucky enough to see a second season from Woke?
Oh, wow. I think, although I wasn't on set with these guys physically, when I did my recordings, I've done a lot of animation, but that's different than I have to have a certain cadence when I'm delivering these lines because it has to match whatever energy that Keith Lamorne is projecting. So my projection, my cadence, all that has to, and that's the writers and producers who walk me through it, because in my mind, when they call JB to be a comedian, once I started seeing the clips that I had to match the energy in the moment, I realized that, okay, I see what I got to do. So that being said, the climate that we're living in now, we have to, this show does an amazing job of channeling those moments into these compact visuals that we can see and feel. That moment that happened on camera with George Floyd is real. But these are the shows and these are the times where we find some way to get through and get to another place with this. You gotta realize this show has a balance of drama and a balance of real, a balance of funny, of all these different channels and different roles they have to hit. And it does an amazing job of capturing those moments. Now, this moment that we're in right now, we got to realize that at some point, everything that we are in right now is going to have to be, the sting is going to have to be taken off it at some point. I mean, thousands of comedians have joked about slavery, but once slavery was over, we have to find a way to fix it, but also get through it, and we have the ability, we have thick skin in this country, and we have found a way to still survive and still make light of things because we have to deal with it in order to get through it. So, that's kudos to the amazing job you guys did. I wish I was on set with you guys watching, but sitting in my garage recording, the guys did a great job. The writers did a great job of pointing me in the right direction so that me pushing Lamorne to take action on things made sense. Not in a comedic voice from JB, but I had to change that all up. That wasn't the laughy, jokey JB. That was the powerful militant pen telling this dude, get out there and wake your ass up. You see what's happening. Mm-hmm. I had to change. I even had to drop it a little bit. I had to put a little groggle to it because Keith, you get out there, Keith.
You gotta say it with your chest hair out. You gotta open one of the buttons.
Have a little bass in that voice.
I was in my garage. Naked.
AB has gone full Isaac Hayes on us.
You see me walking down the street and I start to cry. Each time we meet.
He has gone full Hayes, ladies and gentlemen.
That is what it.
Full Black Moses, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, that is what it is, man. And I know at some point we at some point as comedians we take the pain, we reshape it, we filtrate it through our filtration system that we have, and we have to reprocess it in a way that we can deal with whatever happened. And we're like therapists in some way, and you guys are therapists also on the show. You have to visualize these things to make to make it make sense.
Yeah, because
people sitting home watching.
As Lamorne was saying, you take your medicine with sugar. So it's like or orange juice, and that's what comedians do with material. And I think this show will do a great job of that moving forward. I never watched the George Floyd video. I'm over watching black men be murdered on camera. I think the last one I saw was Philando Castile, and that really bothered me. And it's to the point where I feel like the people who need to see it have saw it, because a lot of people act like every time you see one of these videos is, well, why didn't they just comply? Or why didn't they then, or why didn't they, or why? And then you see a video where none of that is in question. And now you're like, oh my, well, maybe Black lives do matter. We've been telling you this shit for I don't know how long, but again, I thank God that this video did start, the movement and get people going in the right direction. And I feel like this show will continue to further that and push that, because it's something that needs to be talked about. It's a conversation that needs to keep happening. The conversation was going strong throughout the summer, and now it's election time. So now everybody like, hold on, put Black Lives on hold. No. Yeah. It's still a conversation that's going to
it's still going.
Regardless of who's in the White House. So don't try to be like, hey, man, we need y'all to, like, hey, we're going to keep talking about this over here. Which one of y'all going to do what for Black people? Because Black people right now are at a disadvantage in this country. And a lot of people don't want to address that. And, police brutality is still a thing. It's still real, regardless of who elected. We had a Black president and Black people were still getting beat down and killed. So it's not like it just changes. So I think woke is necessary right now in these times, and it's giving people a lot of people that don't have a voice right now. I feel like everybody kind of has a marker in their life, because it's a lot of people that want to be quiet. It's a lot of people that want to kind of not be woke, because woke rhymes with broke. But they got that internal marker right now that's constantly putting these videos on social media. So you're like, all right, I'm not gonna watch CNN, I'm not gonna watch Fox, I'm not gonna watch, NBC. But then you hop on Facebook, you hop on Instagram, you scroll down, and next thing you know, there's a video of somebody, losing their life, or a video of somebody having the police call on them for no reason. And now the marker in their head is like, well, I guess I gotta say something.
This is what I've been telling you, Keith. This is what I've been telling you.
Yes.
Me myself, I never saw. I for a longest time I was avoiding watching the video of George Floyd. I ultimately did watch it, but I will admit it took me a while to get through it. Just because when you're watching it and you're seeing what's happening in real time, you even though it's a video and it's recorded, I didn't know when it was going to end. So I kept stopping it and like going, wait, what? And you look it up and you see that he was murdered, and you go, okay, well, let me finish watching the video. And you're watching it with your eyes, like almost like you're watching it through your fingers.
Right.
Because for me, I didn't have all the details. I assumed that it was, gunshot, something like that. But I'm watching him on his neck, and I just thought,
suffocated.
Oh my God, that is one of the most brutal. That's the most brutal thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so it definitely still has an effect on me. The sting is still there. And a lot of people say, it hurts for a while and you move on and other stuff happens and you become numb to it. I'm still battling that, this year with the pandemic, with what's been going on. And I'll be the first person to tell you, mentally, I've needed some adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And for the first time in my life, I felt this way. And so I can pinpoint some direct moments and some of these moments in history and throughout this year that has had its hand in that. And obviously, you want to come out on the other side unscathed. But to me, I know it will add character. And doing a show like this definitely adds a level of, I don't want to say protection, but it adds a level of comfort to know that it is being talked about and it is being addressed. And I didn't witness this video alone. I didn't witness this video by myself. So millions of people share that same hurt with me. Obviously, that doesn't compare to the family of George Floyd, but we all hurt for that family, and we all hurt for him and Breonna Taylor as well, and the many people that have lost their lives for no reason. So I think it'll always have its effect on me. But you gotta thank God for a show like this, and for shows and for news shows or talk shows or YouTubers or all the social media people who talk about it and people who keep that conversation going in the right way. And I think that sting will last, but it'll eventually turn around for a good use.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a great way to end everything. Thank you guys so much for joining us for the Screen Actors Guild panel on Woke. I just wanted to tell JB that it looks like his redheaded cousin showed up. And he said he did a great job. So that's kind of awesome. You know,
we gotta wrap this up. JB got to get back to the airport.
he got a midnight flight. He got to get out of here. Yeah.
He's gonna go half his headset to Lamorne next.
Wait, ain't nobody gonna bring up the fact? Ain't nobody gonna bring up the fact that JB got on sunglasses in the house? Ain't nobody gonna talk about this.
They're aviators.
That's why he was struggling to get his computer together. He couldn't see the screen.
I'm by the window, man. Brightness coming in here. It's brightness coming in the window.
Yeah, the sun facing the east. You facing the west. We ain't
when you get that Isaac Hayes look, you gotta have it all. You gotta have the glasses.
Isaac always had his shades on, man.
Ain't nobody
That's right.
say
That's
that.
Always.
All right, I want to thank Rose McIver, who plays Adrienne, JB Smoove, who voices Marker Pen, P. Murph, who plays Clovis, Blake Anderson, who plays Gunther, and of course, the man at the top of the call sheet, Lamorne Morris, as Keith. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. And viewers, thank you for watching. And remember to check out Woke. All episodes are airing on Hulu.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You so much.
All right.
That was awesome.
Thanks, guys.